let's kind of go through our hot seat for the year. And we just talked about one of these teams. What coach has the hottest seat in college football going into the season? And I looked up several lists to do this segment here, and just kind of comparing what everybody else was thinking on this. And Lincoln Riley was number one of these lists that I looked at. What do you think? Is Lincoln Riley in? Is it possible he could lose his job in 24-25 season?
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think that's a little bit silly. I mean, not saying he's done a great job, but who else? He just seems like such a fit for USC. They need to improve somehow. They just lost a Heisman winning, quarterback, but they've got to find a way to improve, specifically on defense. They did finally fire their defensive coordinator. Hopefully, we see an effect similar to what we saw at Ohio State over the past 2 years, where they get in Jim Knowles and all of a sudden they can play some defense. But I think that you got to give this guy a little bit more time, and I'm not confident that he's going to pull it out and return USC to the promised land. But I also don't think that this year is the year to get rid of him. If the season plays out differently, I think that you could look at the 2025 season. If they win 5 games this year or less, I think you look at the 2025 season and say, all right, you got a really short leash, but we're not afraid to cut you mid-season. But I don't think that the 2024 season will dictate what any decisions made for Lincoln Riley personally.
Yeah. Well, it's always kind of a sign that we're getting close to something happening, and there's vibrations among the Earth's crust whenever a college football coach goes and replaces coordinators, right? And they're like, okay, we gotta. I'm blaming it on this guy. This guy's gone. Now we're good. That's essentially what the coordinator firing Sam Pittman that's pictured on your screen did the same thing this past year. Like we're gonna move on from these guys. These guys are what's weighing us down right now. I'm gonna get a better coaching staff in here, and it's gonna be better. But what if it ain't? And that's kind of where I'm at. Lincoln Riley, I've said it time and time again. It wasn't Alex Grinch. Alex Grinch was just a product of a football team that prioritizes offense over defense and special teams.
But he's
And
always been that, so I'll push
right,
back just a little bit
and
because
Grinch has always been there.
Grinch he's always been there with Lincoln Riley,
Yeah,
and they've never performed defensively. So I didn't like the fact that he brought him over in the first place.
right.
Also, Arkansas fires Dan Enos. I didn't like the hire in the first place, but it was, if you go back in time, that was the choice that you almost had to make, given where the coaching carousel led. They lose their
Yeah,
offensive coordinator late in the process, and now they've got to find somebody, and they're picking up scraps, and that's what happened. And I just think I don't think he was the guy that Sam Pittman wanted. But I think that Lincoln Riley made a poor decision in bringing over Alex Grinch.
yeah. Well, we're gonna see too, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe Alex Grinch is now with the Badgers in Wisconsin, and we're gonna see where Alex Grinch his career goes from here, and it's gonna tell us a lot about the situation with Lincoln Riley, because I'm of the thought that it's a head coach problem. It's not a defensive coordinator problem. I didn't like Alex Grinch either. I'm with you 100%. I didn't want him to follow Lincoln Riley over. I wanted to figure out this experiment before getting to USC, but we're going to find out how good Alex Grinch does outside of a Lincoln Riley coach football team, and we're going to kind of go from there. But you're right. It's those two have never been successful together defensively, and I think it's because Lincoln Riley is not of the thought process of complementary football. We saw USC this past spring go non-contact for multiple weeks in a row. They were playing 7-on-7, Mason. And then we get in the season and we're like, why can't this defense tackle nobody? They ain't tackled nobody all spring. They ain't tackled nobody all fall. they've got to become more physical. Lincoln Riley, it's on him at this point. And if that defense doesn't perform better this year, you're right, they probably won't fire him. But he's got to be on the hot seat at that point, a very, very hot seat. And would not be surprised to if things don't go well this year. You're talking about 5-6 games, they win 5 or 6 games. I think if they get to December and they've won 5 or 6 games, he'll be going to the NFL. They won't have to fire him. He'll take off to the NFL. Billy Napier. Do you think he gets fired this year? I do.
Yes.
Yeah. During the season?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. The schedule's way too brutal, dude. It's way too brutal. There's no way he's going to be successful.
I think you got to start out 4-0 with this schedule. And that's beating Miami, and that's beating Texas A&M, one non-con team. And I forget the last one. It's an SEC team, but anyways, that's where they're at, and golly, I'd say for Miami and for Florida, those are must-win games for both teams, right?
Yeah.
You're opening the year, Miami versus Florida. Miami's got to be thinking, Florida sucks, man. They hadn't been good in years. Florida's got to be thinking, Miami sucks, man. They hadn't been good in years. We got to win this game. It's the battle of the state in some ways, and I think that Florida more so has to win, just given the fact that Billy Napier has not done well. I think Miami could probably get away with it, or more so. I think that Miami's head coach Mario Cristobal could get away with it. I think he's good this year, but I think Billy Napier is gone. I don't even think it's a hot seat. I think it's like a vacant seat, and there's just a note that has his name on it. Like, he's not even in the seat anymore. Like, they're just kind of waiting on things to play out.
Well, and he better watch his back, dude, because the Florida Gator administration will help him get out the door.
That's right.
In any way possible. You may see a Jeremy Pruitt at Tennessee type situation with this one before it's all said and done. And because they would love nothing more than to be able to fire Billy Napier with cause and not have to pay him.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about Florida, who has been in a perpetual state of replacing their college football coach over and over and over and over again, dude. So they don't want to pay all that money, man. I mean, there's no secret to it. And this schedule that you just brought up here is absolutely freaking brutal. You want to take us through that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, these first 4 games here, you've got Miami, Samford, Texas A&M, Mississippi State. You could even argue UCF, maybe the top 5, maybe those top 5. Like, I really need to see Florida come out and go 4-1 out of these 5 games.
Like, with the washout that Florida's had at linebacker, that UCF game is going to be a son of a bitch.
Yep. And especially, I mean, they've got KJ Jefferson now at quarterback, so a good running quarterback. He's gonna be a handful. I don't see them beating Tennessee. I don't see them beating Kentucky this year. All right. So then that's the first 7 games. Last 5 games here. This is where it gets really brutal. You get a bye week in between Kentucky and Georgia. I think that's where we'll see the firing. I think that they're going to let him go after Kentucky, give the team a week with the new coach, say, hey, go out and fight Georgia tough, right? It'll be a huge win for the program if this isn't a 3-score game, and it would be, even with Billy Napier, it'd be a huge win given where these programs are at right now.
Yeah.
But Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State, the over/under is at half a win in these last 5 games. So, I mean, I'm not, that's not like a Vegas total. That's my over/under, but I just don't see them getting out of that gauntlet there. So the real key is going to be those first 5 games. If you could split Tennessee and Kentucky, and you've got 5 wins heading into, the Georgia game and the cocktail party, maybe you could sneak in, a win against Florida State in a rivalry game at the end of the year and you're going bowling. That could be a scenario where Billy Napier keeps his job. Florida's got to know that this is a really tough schedule. They're going to be
Oh, yeah.
possibly breaking in a brand new quarterback in DJ Lagway with this schedule. Maybe there's as I'm kind of playing through it, maybe there's a scenario where they do, kind of win and keep Billy Napier. But at the same time, it's really tough. If the first part of their schedule was really tough and the back half was easy, I could see it happening more so. But the fact that the front half is the easier part, but what I'm saying is the new quarterback, if DJ Lagway ends up winning the job, he would be more polished towards the end of the year than he would at the beginning of the year, where he's going to be going through his freshman mistakes. So maybe a little bit tougher to get those first 5 wins out of the way. But I mean, realistically, there's a chance that Florida wins 3 games in this season. I mean, they've got 2 guarantees in Samford and Mississippi State, in my opinion. They could lose every other game, realistically.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
that's the way I see it. And Billy Napier, I think that Billy Napier will be gone. If I were to put money on it, that's where I would go.
Yeah, I think so too. If they can go bowling next year, that would be incredible. That would be a big. I mean, they haven't went to a bowl game in what? It's been 3 years in a row. They haven't won 6 games. So that just in general would be a big deal. But especially considering the scheduling massacre that is the Florida Gators 24 and 25 season, that would be a really big deal. Let's talk about the Arkansas old head ball coach, Mr. Fire Up That Jukebox. What do you think needs to happen for him to be able to retain his job? You kind of talked about Billy Napier, and I kind of think the same thing about Sam Pittman at Arkansas. I think if Sam Pittman can get off to a hot start, then I think that he can quiet down a lot. And if they can make a bowl game and start off the season hot, then I think they got a pretty good shot to keep Sam Pittman and retain him. It's a different than a Florida situation, and the fact that the Florida Gators don't like Billy Napier. Like, most Florida fans don't like him. I don't know what the deal is. I think Billy Napier's a really nice guy. I don't think there's much to dislike about Billy Napier other than the fact that he may be in over his head. I think, but with that being said, the Florida Gator fans, I don't think are in love with Billy Napier. Arkansas fans absolutely love Sam Pittman. Nobody to know Sam Pittman is to love him. Okay, we've talked about it on the show before. He's that guy in the neighborhood whose garage is always open, and you head over there with your broken lawnmower deck, and you two end up drinking 6 beers and fixing your lawnmower together, right?
Yep.
That's Sam Pittman. Everybody loves the guy. So if he can get off to a hot start in 24 and 25, do you think he can keep his job?
I do, and I think he will, actually. I'm pulling the schedule up here. It's pretty favorable. For once, Arkansas has a decent schedule that's like pretty manageable, right?
It's the first time I can remember.
It's been a while. No Alabama, no Georgia on this schedule. They start off with the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions, with a beautiful mascot there. I love that logo. Lion with a beautiful mane there, hair that I just wish I had. And then they got Oklahoma State. That's actually a really fun game. I'm super excited about that matchup. I think that could be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, cool.
It's a tough one for Arkansas for sure. Definitely not a for sure win in my opinion. But then you've got UAB, who is a pretty tough team, but I think Arkansas should be able to pull that off. Auburn, who is just this dark horse of a team in the SEC this year. Not really sure what's going to happen with them, but I don't look at Auburn and say that this isn't winnable for Arkansas. This is a winnable game for them. You know, they could get into it'd be a pretty big win for me. I'm pretty high on Auburn this year. Texas A&M, we don't know what they're going to do this year. I expect them to be a really tough team for Arkansas. I think it would be a tough matchup for them. And then you got Tennessee, who should be able to control this game and should be able to win against Arkansas, but still a game that Arkansas could pull off, you know. LSU, I think that they're going to be a really tough out for Arkansas, but then you got Mississippi State, who Arkansas could beat, right? Then Ole Miss, Texas, Missouri, I think are losses. Louisiana Tech should be a win. So I'm counting, and I see 2.5, 3, 4, 5.5 wins on this schedule. I mean, if they can over on that and go bowling, do you think that that's gonna keep that you know that's gonna allow Sam Pittman to keep his job?
Yeah, I do. 6 wins has got to be the goal for a team
Right.
like Arkansas. I mean, look, these lower tier teams, and I say lower tier, I mean this is an SEC program we're talking about here. So I speak in championship levels, right? This is a lower level team. The goal has to be to win 9 or 10 games once every 3 or 4 years. That's got to be the goal. And then the rest of the time you need to be trying to make a bowl game. That seems reasonable to me. I don't. Now, Arkansas has got money. People think that Arkansas Razorbacks don't have money. Dude, they got 2 stadiums. Okay, they got money. Like the Walmart family contributes there. The Jerry Jones family contributes there and sends all their grandkids there. I mean, they got money, bro. They got it. So Sam Pittman, and I hate to just maybe he's too old to get this team fired up in the new college football era of NIL and all that stuff. I don't know.
Well,
Like I
maybe not
said,
the team, but the program, right?
Right.
As
And
a
that's what I
whole,
mean.
the
Yeah.
boosters, the AD, you know,
Yeah. The kids obviously aren't going to contribute. You've got to you
yeah.
got to channel the Jerry Jones money. You got to channel the Walton money
Mhm.
like into the right funnels. And Arkansas fans are diehard as anybody, dude. I swear to God, Arkansas and South Carolina Gamecock fans, dude, every year's their year. Like, we got it this year. Like, it's in the bag. We got it. We're gonna be better. We're gonna win 8 games. We're gonna win 9 games. We're gonna win 10 games. South Carolina fans will hit you with, you know, we're beating Georgia. You know,
Yeah.
Delusional, maybe. Fanatic, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. So he's got to rally the war cry of the Woo Pig Suey. Okay. Otherwise, he may be in trouble. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
you got to get the money going into the right coffers and in the right funnels, dude, in today's college football. And I don't know if Sam Pittman's cut out to do that.